Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you're watching this, guys. Welcome to the next segment of the Next Evolution Athletics interview series. Today we've got Paulina the Deng Deng. Deng, what's up, hon? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Probably most of you know Paulina as she's one of our Barbarian athletes, but I'm going to let Paulina introduce herself and tell us a bit about herself and what she's currently up to right now. Dang it,
Okay.
the
So I guess my journey with powerlifting started with CrossFit. Like I just started 2015 and was kind of on and off till then. And then I met Barrett around, would you say 2018 when you first started at the
Probably
gym?
around there, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, and we
around
started
there.
off with like nutrition. I remember
Nutrition.
that. And then it was
Going to
like,
school and doing all that stuff.
yeah, and then I disappeared for months.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah, I came back in October, November, somewhere there. And I
Awesome.
think that's when we started taking powerlifting. Well, I took powerlifting a little more seriously. I came up to you and I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to show the world what I can do with my strength. Ready to show
Literally.
my legs. And so, yeah, I like didn't realize my strength until probably the first time I put a barbell on my back at CrossFit, one of my first CrossFit classes, and I squatted like 195, and everyone was pretty like, okay, cool. Like you're pretty strong. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see where we can take it from there. And then when Barrett came into the gym, I think I was like, all right, well, I've never done bench in my life, so that'll be a first. Deadlifting, I pretty much suck at because I had really bad back and hip problems at the time.
Yeah.
And then squats, I was mostly open to. So I think that's when the journey started. Me currently trapped at home working. Kelvin and I recently moved up. Kelvin, my significant other, so we like built a little gym in our basement, and
You
that's
and
what we
everyone
have.
else on the planet.
Yeah, like everybody else,
Yeah.
just moving through life. And I went decided to go back to school because there's nothing else to do than to sit at home and watch TV. You can only like watch Netflix for so long. So yeah, back to school and trying to like do a bit of powerlifting movements here and there when I can, but I don't think I'm gonna throw like 400 pounds on my back by
Not today.
myself.
A couple of weeks, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a couple weeks, maybe
Yeah.
next year, who knows?
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah.
For those that don't know, Paulina is our current World Juniors champion in raw powerlifting, and put on quite a show at Worlds.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a lifetime ago now.
Feels like a lifetime ago. Yeah. That
God.
literally just last year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
14 months almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
that's me.
Honestly, it doesn't even, it seems like it was 10 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I was just going to say, like, when you were at CrossFit, why did you join CrossFit and then what got you to transition to powerlifting? Just out of curiosity.
Um, so I joined CrossFit because Kelvin was doing CrossFit at the time. And I think like the gym we're at now, I think they were pretty like new in the north. And Kelvin like went there with a friend before and he just kind of was like, oh, you enjoy working out, so let's like do a class together. And I did fundamentals and I liked it. I really liked the community aspect of CrossFit. Not so much the workouts, but suffering with friends
Anti-powerlifting
is
in all
always
forms.
fun. Yeah. And then like I think as I did CrossFit throughout like the first year, I realized I was a lot stronger than I knew to be. Like as a kid, I knew I was pretty strong because like not to brag or anything, but I was like 12 pulling in Culligan bottles into the house. So so I was like, okay, well, it's like strength is my forte, not endurance, clearly, and not gymnastics. So whenever we had like I think it was a CrossFit Total. I think it was like you could test your deadlift, your back squat, and your like strict push
Overhead
press.
press, yeah.
Those were like my best days. I PR all the time. And like, that's how like I fell in love with, I think, just like strength training, really. I left a little bit because I went back to school again. I couldn't find the time. And I remember going into like Good Life and stuff. And it just like it wasn't for me anymore, working out by myself. So yeah, CrossFit was like the place to be.
Yeah. A
And
lot
then
of people get that better.
Yeah, powerlifting, I think, just kind of fell into my lap. I'd say so. I don't know.
Yeah, it seemed to.
Yeah. It's a shock to us all.
Yeah.
I think like Bonnie encouraged me to do a couple competitions with you, I remember. And then I think when you did that in-house comp the first
the
time.
in-house meet, just for fun.
Yeah. And I remember going back to the gym the month before, and I was like, sure, yeah, I'll sign up for it. And then that was a huge hit because I won that one. And
well, you won that one, but you unofficially broke like 3 raw records.
Yeah. Yeah. And your team
we didn't have any refs
low.
there other than me, so it didn't count. But when you look, it's like, oh, I've already broken the national records by significant amount of kilos.
Here, yeah. No, and I remember like Bob and Lori were like, you should really think about joining our team. And I was like, okay, well, like I'll give it a thought. And I remember like even the first month when I joined you, I was still doing CrossFit and powerlifting.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know why, but I did.
I was
and then just slowly transitioned to powerlifting, and then that's where we kicked off. And I remember like everyone at CrossFit was like, "Oh, you've joined the dark side now."
Yeah, evil empire on the other side of the rigs.
Yeah.
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 So, yeah.
It's a fun it's such a fun gym because it's so, you'd think that if you had like a bunch of CrossFitters in one gym and a bunch of powerlifters in one gym that they would like try and kill each other, but all it is just banter back and forth.
We just beat each other. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there's really it's just us making fun of them and then making fun of like, oh look, powerlifters can't do more than 3 reps. And it's like, yeah, but we don't have to do it once. Like
yeah,
like,
I remember for like
their warm-ups, so it's fine. Like
yeah. I remember for the first month, like all our friends on the other side of the rig were like, are you resting again? I'm like, that's part of my program. I get to, you don't. Yeah.
Keep doing your reps, have fun.
Yeah, pretty fun.
It's definitely amusing now because now we have like a powerlifting thing, and then we have an athletic side, and then we have like kind of a mishmash, like a general population one going on. So at any given time, you'll have someone trying to squat like 90% of their max for like a single or a double, and then you'll have someone like doing bounding and throwing medicine balls, and you have someone else swinging kettlebells simultaneously, and it's just constant banter. Nothing changed. The banter's still there. Reza still gets beaked off. I mean, Bob is still chirped. Baker's still there beaking. Like, it's just a great time, really.
Yeah, it's so fun. And and like we beak each other. So
family that beaks each other lives together in strength.
Yeah.
So what did you know? I'm gonna ask you this. What did you notice the biggest difference between training in a CrossFit side and then switching over to powerlifting? What did you notice the biggest differences? And similarities, I guess.
Definitely when I first started, it was like powerlifting was super slow. I think all just like the movements and stuff. I was like, oh my God, like I can't even start to slow down my brain to do half the stuff that I'm called to do. Cause I remember when like you'd list out, you know, is it the stretching or training portion, the beginning of everything before we did like squats and stuff?
Oh yeah.
We'd have like 5 rounds of these 3 movements. And I remember I would be like speeding right through them. And you'd be like, okay, can you just like slow down and do something with purpose? And I'm like, okay, I'll try. And like, that was really hard for me because I think CrossFit was just so fast. And every single time you see like, you know, 3 rounds of this on the board, you're like, okay, how much like time, like how fast can I finish this?
Yeah.
In the little amount of time as possible. So I remember like that was a big difference. Focusing on movement was a big thing. I think I had to get used to the fact that it was going to take months for me to fix my hips. Yeah, because my hips were a really big thing. I remember like for probably almost a year, just like being in school and like sitting in lectures all the time, my hips were just like killer, especially my right one. And I remember when we first squatted, remember like my one leg was like a little shorter than the other one.
Everything shifted one way.
Yeah. And I remember I said that out loud. And I remember John was like, that's not normal, so you should probably get a look at that. And I'm like, well, you know, it's fine. It's only like an inch shorter.
Which is quite a significant amount.
Yeah, now we know. But it took a really long time for me to kind of just like align everything and feel better.
Yeah.
So that was like the main difference, and really focusing on the movement aspect of every lift, just like certain little tweaks here and there that can help. I know for like CrossFit, it's literally just like how fast you can go. And sometimes the faster you go, the more, I guess you lose what's the word I'm looking for? You lose like the little movements you need to fix.
The technique of it.
The techniques, there we go. Yeah, you lose the technique of the movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so powerlifting was good because it was like slow enough where I could really feel my body, not having to do like 5 reps of like back squats really fast.
Yeah, just one, fine.
Yeah, just for fun.
2 is a big day, 3 is exhausting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'd say those are like the biggest differences between the two.
Yeah, it's definitely it's always interesting whenever I get someone starting powerlifting or even starting an athletic program. It's really always interesting because depending on the background they come from, they may or may not have had coaching before. Who knows? Yeah. And sometimes every coach focuses on something different every time. Like I'm a slow start, big finish kind of guy. I don't like to rush anything. Like there's no point. Like I've seen so many lifters just in my short time of doing this as a profession, as a coach. I've seen so many lifters that are great for 18 months and then I never see them again because they've blown an elbow or their back is trashed or they busted a bicep tendon off.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're not going to put 100 pounds in every lift every year. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. Like as you get stronger and you get closer to your genetic potential, it takes longer and it's harder to get to those things. And you have to do crazier things. But starting out and you try and rush that process, man, like, and you're not, and those tendons aren't ready and everything, those hips aren't ready. Like it all starts to show up somewhere and you can push it. You can probably push for, you know, really a couple months, but after a couple months, it's going to start to creep up like, my shoulder's a bit sore today. I got a bench today though. And all of a sudden your shoulder goes from being sore occasionally to chronic pain and you can't like lift your arm and your elbow's destroyed and all that stuff. Yeah. So it's definitely interesting when you only have to master 3 movements. You don't have to worry about 3 things. Yeah. Just do those really, really well.
That's like as much as my brain can keep right now.
If you do 3 things, that's about 2 things more than I can do.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely been fun to not only like coach you guys, but learn more about coaching and grow as a coach through this whole process as well. So it's always fun to like, I'm always reading articles or researching something on strength conditioning. So it's just finding ways to integrate new stuff that helps in the long run. Like we just did a system here before we had the lockdown. It was so simple and basic that everyone was like, this is not going to work. And everyone smoked PRs across the board. Yeah. It was just profoundly, it almost seemed like it wasn't going to work at all. And we just did it as an experiment. And it's a system I did when I was like 21. And it's mind-numbingly slow, but it allows you to focus on nothing but the technique, and you never have to worry about the weight. You're just adding literally either 1 more set or 1 more rep per week. It's profoundly simple on your main lift. Yeah. And so you test it and you're like, holy shit, I've just like, I think one of the guys had like a 50+ pound PR on his squat. He had a 20+ pound PR on his bench, and he had like I think another 50+ PR on his deadlift. And that's like
jeez.
A monster PR. Like he couldn't even believe it. Like none of us could. And I was just like, okay, there's something to this.
Yeah. Something's working.
Well, it's just, it's progressively overloading the system, but we're not changing the weight. you're always working with the weight you currently work with. The weight never changes, the volume changes. And then you just take a step back, and it's a good base builder system is what I call it. It's kind of like a step system. So you just stay there and all of a sudden level up, stay there, level up. And what happens is your body gets adapted to it. It's not afraid of the weight. You get the musculature for it. You get your tendons for it. Everything's fine. And test a triple, go ahead. Or test a double, whatever you're testing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really simple. I mean, you didn't get to do it, but everyone else loved it.
I mean, I saw it and I was like, holy shit, Turkish get-ups. I'm like, screw that. Yeah.
CrossFit again, I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you doing nowadays?
We're like pretty much just trying to maintain. Like I do like small weights here and there, and then like just like a bunch of like cardio, like biking and rowing. It's what we have at home.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll like throw the bar on my back, but like as I was telling you, like 95 feels like so heavy. Yeah. I do like I think 10 reps and I'm like, oh, I'm done. Like
this is a great workout today. I'm gonna go home and cry
yeah.
now.
Yeah. And like my legs start to get sore now. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, to be back in that position of last year where like literally I could just go into the gym and squat 325, like no problem. That's what I want to go back to. But
we'll get there. This just has to level up.
Yeah. I think I spend more time thinking about who's going to save me if I bail or like what I'm going to break rather than just actually doing it.
Well, I don't recommend starting 320 on your back right now.
Yeah. No, that's not happening.
95 kilos done, and we'll worry about that in a minute.
Yeah. No, I miss it. And like, I mean, I've disappeared because unfortunately COVID, but I'm just ready to like, I'm just maintaining to be ready to go back and like to pick it back up, but we'll see.
Yeah. Do you have any big goals for when you come back? You already have half a dozen world records, so.
Yeah, I thought about it, and I think like this year has been all about just like reflecting, and I think just to go back to like the journey of going to worlds and stuff, we hit it pretty hard from April to October. And I just remember by worlds, like we were all burnt out, I think. Yeah. And to win worlds was like, honestly, a surprise for myself. Like we didn't hit any PRs that we wanted to that day. Nope. I hurt my back just from being so exhausted. I remember that, but to like stand up there, I was pretty surprised. I'm like, oh my God, I had a chance. Yeah, and we like obviously we don't talk about it much, but I remember the moments before even being called onto stage again. I was like in the back crying because I'm like, I don't know how we did. I'm like in so much pain.
Yeah.
And I remember just going out there and then winning, and I was like, okay, cool, we have something. Yeah.
I'm lying to you.
Yeah. And so like this year, just like thinking back to all of that, it was an intense journey within the 7-8 months.
I know,
Then yeah, and like three competitions?
We did 3 competitions. You did your first one in like March.
Yeah, some like May 4th.
Right. And then
that was the very first
July or something like that.
May to July, and then the third one was Worlds.
Yeah.
I remember we were all freaked out because I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel. My name's called. Don't know what's gonna happen, but like, and I don't think I've like told you this before, but when you told me it's not normal for people to hit PRs all the time, Paulina, I was like, well, screw that. I'm gonna hit a PR every single time I'm on that stage, and we did, which was fine, and it was fun. But I think just being within that period of like 7-8 months, like I was exhausted. I think we're all just so tired.
Yeah.
And coming into like this year, I think even like the end of last year, I think I said to you, I'm so not about the PRs next year. I just want to get into a different weight class and kind of shoot my shot there. And that was the goal. But like, yeah, this year has just been really slow. and lots of learning of, okay, so like where do I see myself coming back to it? And I think, I don't know, we'll just like let it be. I don't know. I guess the goal is to like come back and resume where we were, but
We'll build back in. I'm not too worried about that.
yeah.
What's the
So,
biggest thing you think you've learned so far this year?
um,
Is it the let it be attitude or something else?
yeah, I feel like it's a let it be attitude and just like slowing down. Like I think like, and not to like burst a bubble or anything, but I think like for me it's really more about like, okay, I have goals that I want to meet, but like it's okay not to meet those goals. Because it's not going to happen all the time. Like I can try and I can try my best, but it's okay to like just let it go if it doesn't happen. I think that was my biggest lesson this year. And yeah, just to like slow down. I mean, it's weird because like last year I had so much time in the world to like, you know, do the comps and like do work and stuff. Yeah. And like this year it's just like complete 180. And I'm just like, okay, so sometimes like working out looks like putting it on the back burner for now because work is like important for me, or like school. I have a lot of schoolwork. So I guess the true goal is to just balance that time as well for next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is tough. It's always like one thing's always going to be ahead of the other. So,
well, I think if you're going to be, I think in my opinion, if you're going to excel in anything, you don't, if you're going to excel in anything, you're not going to be balanced. Like,
yeah.
let's call a spade here. I don't know of any highly successful individual in athletics or in business or in life or whatever that led a balanced, perfectly balanced lifestyle. You have to be obsessive to be great at something.
Yeah.
You have a choice. Like I guarantee if you walk up to like Michael Phelps, Jordan, Gretzky, all those guys, it doesn't matter. They were obsessive about their sport. If you look at guys like Grant Cardone, Ed Milet, Richard Branson, they were probably at one point in time obsessive about becoming one of the best business people on the planet. You know, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, like visionary type people like Steve Jobs, they were obsessive about what they were obsessed. Like I guarantee at some point in time, they were obsessive about it. So I really don't think that if you want to be exceptional at something, a balanced life is something you're not going. It's just something you kind of have to put to the wayside for a little.
Yeah.
And you did. I mean, you did. You for literally a year, you trained your ass off and just worked. And that for you is slowing down in comparison to what you currently were, well, what you were at the time. And that was like trying to get a degree and working full time and then doing this. It's like, you got to give up something somewhere. Like you're only going to be exceptional at one, maybe two things. You're great at a few things and you can be good at a lot of things. So, you know, that's, there's nothing wrong with going through periods where it's a slower time, in my opinion. I think you need to do things because if you don't slow down, I don't think you have the ability to actually take the time and reflect on what worked, what didn't work, what you got to do better the next time, what you're going to do if something like this pops up again, or a situation or an obstacle, how you're going to react. You don't have time to plan if you're always go, 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 go.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think like I said, like last year, I think everything was just so fast. And I think like meeting the goal that I didn't think was attainable, like worlds, like winning worlds. I mean, I was shocked and I think I just hit a burnout because I'm like, okay, well, what's next? Like we're here now. Yeah. So I think, which I mean, like COVID kind of fell at a pretty good time for me right now, just being forced to like take the time to like reflect on it just because everything did move so fast. And like I was really grateful for the journey and stuff. But I think even just like getting to where you wanted to be so fast, it took a lot to even like absorb all of that. Because I half the time I didn't even know what was going on. My name would just be called and be like, oh, world record or like national record. And I'm like, this is just a number that we've squatted every day at the gym.
Yeah.
So I think that was a shock to me as well. And just like all the recognition. I mean, you know me, I'm not like I don't like to be called. I don't like to be the star of the show.
The dang.
Like I get so awkward. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, well, this is it. And I can't tell you, like, the feeling of standing on that platform, like after winning and just literally standing there for the anthem, I wanted to cry a little bit inside because I was like, oh my God, like this is as much as the spotlight is gonna get.
Well, I mean, what you did is something pretty funny because what most people don't really get is that we didn't even hit most of your numbers that day. I don't think we'd any of your numbers that day. Like
it was a shitty day. Like it was
that was probably the worst lifting day you had.
Yeah.
And I remember you telling me that your back was sore like a week out, and I was like, when did it happen? You're like, oh, but 6 weeks ago, and I was like,
yeah.
And then you spent 2 days prior at Worlds sitting in a car, like that didn't help. Like, but like even then, like you went out there, and I think maybe you squatted your opener, or just maybe your last warm up, and that was your final set.
Yeah, like we didn't even go for the big shebang. Like I dropped the third one, and I think like mentally, just knowing that I could have done the third lift like really well, and maybe have even gone for like a fourth one. Mm-hmm. I think like I already shut down at that point because I was like, this is not going to go the way like I expected it to go. So I think that was like the turning point in the competition for sure. Just not being able to do that third lift and then going out to do deads. Because I think like, honestly, I think that was a really tough decision as well. Just, okay, maybe we just not do the third squat and save it for everything else. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah. Trust me, it killed me almost as much as it killed you.
Yeah. And yeah, no, that was probably like the worst competition we've ever had. I felt like the last two that we had were like so easy and like such a breeze. Like everything was like so natural. Yeah, but fast forward to like Worlds, I was like, oh God.
Well, that's what I find interesting. Like I've talked to so many people that's like, oh, I want to power lift, but I'm not going to do it until I can break a national record or break a world record. Mm-hmm. I'm like, then you're never really going to do it because it's not just getting under a barbell and squatting or benching or deadlifting it.
Yeah.
So many other things that go into a meet, like understanding the weigh-in process, understanding how to like rehydrate if you have to, understanding like your warm-up routine when there's like literally 20 other people mm-hmm. sharing your squat cage and adjusting your plates, how to recover after that meet because you're going to go bench in like 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Like after that lift, like, you know, all those things that come into play, being in front of an audience in a singlet, that alone I've seen stop so many lifters from just that.
Yeah.
So like there's so many other nuances to actually being in a meet than actually just do a squat, bench, and dead. Like that's almost the easy part.
Yeah. Well, and I think for like us as well, like throughout training, for all the competitions, like we didn't even, well, personally, I didn't look at any of the numbers. Like I didn't look at any of the national records or world records of whatever other girls were squatting in my like weight and age category. Cause I was like, well, you know, I'm only out there to do what I can do. And I think that really helped. But fast forward to Worlds, because I think there's like just so much going on. I got into this headspace of, oh shit, like what if I can't compete with the other girls who are competing? Because now we're we're competing with like world powerlifters here, like everyone around. So I'm just like, well, there's no chance for me. And I remember even like with Worlds, the decision to choose one affiliate over the other, that was like mentally frustrating as well. Cause I know part of you was like, okay, Paulina, if you're ready, like just do it. Like, I know you can do it. But then for me, because this was my third competition.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm truly not comfortable because I'm not even familiar with the rules of this affiliate yet. Yeah. And so it was a huge learning lesson, I think. It's just so much like mental stuff going on. And I don't think people like realize that either, because on the outside perspective, like, yeah, like Paulina's at the gym, we're like squatting and like we're getting ready for meet and stuff. But meanwhile, there's like this whole other backstory of like, A, there's too many options, and B, there's just like so many other good competitors.
Yeah.
And like, truly, I am 5 feet tall. I do not look like my competitors.
Oh.
Yeah. So like, and I know the joke is like my range of motion for my squat is literally from like here to here.
I saw range. It's ridiculous.
But like, yeah, it's a huge mental game.
Oh, it is. And that's why I keep telling people when they start lifting and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to compete and do this. You don't really compete for the first 3 to 7 meets, depending on the individual.
Yeah.
Like, because it takes so long to get comfortable with each individual person being on that platform, learning the warm-up routine, learning how to reset, just chill out and reset after max loading. Okay, you've got 45 minutes to chill out and reset. And a lot of people can't. Like, they're just spinning circles for 45 minutes. By the time they get to the bench, they're burned out.
Yeah.
So like it's really interesting to start with new lifters and try and figure out when they're ready. Like, really just try and figure out, like, the only reason why we did the second meet was because you just needed more platform experience.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest here. You were nervous on the world stage.
Yeah.
But think how nervous you'd be if you didn't do the meet beforehand. You only did one meet, and then your next meet was was an actual world meet.
Yeah.
Like, at least you had some idea what to expect in the third meet. But the first meet was like, oh, I gotta go squat now. Okay. And the second, pretty much in the same boat. By 3, you're like, okay, there's 3 people ahead of me. If this person's going, I know I gotta get my head screwed on. You start to get a routine. But really, like, you're still like on the platform, you're still a novice lifter until you're just completely chilled out and you're like, I gotta go squat. And you want to ramp it up and get ready for it. You know how to bring it down after the set.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it took worlds for me to actually learn that lesson. Because everything was just a breeze. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always funny. And everyone takes their time. Like, I've had lifters that literally one meet, you're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, Butcher's dead inside. Like, she was good after one lift, I think. She was like, yeah, I'm good. When people, like, she was just like, and then I've had other lifters, 7 meets. And like, okay, I'm starting to kind of
get a hang. Good. Yeah.
So it's really interesting. And it's one of the things, like, that I talk to other coaches in our federation. They're like, dude, like, why are your girls so chill? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I've had coaches at numerous events, because oddly enough on the team there's mostly girls, which is really funny. But like, and then we got Reza, so he's a girl.
Yeah. Girl.
But like, I've had coaches walk up to me at meets and like, dude, like, how do you train so many girls? I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, oh man, like, I'm just tired of them crying all the time. I'm like, why are your girls crying, man? Like, saying these girls are making cry. I was like, oh man, at least once a week I got someone going in the bathroom crying about something, and it's like, Jesus, what are you saying to these girls? Like,
oh no,
like, dudes, and go lift. You're having a bad day. You're having a bad day. You're having a good day. You're having a good day. Like, so like, I think that there's an art of that. Like, as a coach, you got to learn that and really kind of take a step back and kind of like not assess just the weight and the program, but the individual in that program. And I think it makes a big difference. And it's slowly becoming more relevant in my field, but it's definitely always fun to just see like other coaches with their athletes. Like, I've seen coaches just yelling at their athletes, just screaming at them for really no fucking reason. And I'm just like,
if you yelled at me, I would have walked out the door. I'm like, hey, I'm done.
Really. But like,
and honestly, like, it takes a certain type of, I think it takes a certain type of girl to really just lift the heavy weight. And I think like our team, like, we had a really good support system between, like, you know, the girls and the guys. I think like whenever someone was having a shitty day, like, everyone kind of be like, hey, you're fine. Like, you've done this before. Like, it's just today. And I think it was getting over that, just knowing the fact of like, okay, this one day doesn't reflect your whole performance. You're fine. Yeah. And so like, and plus the fact, like, we all joke around with each other and everything's like light. And even though someone's like going through some shit, like we're always joking and laughing in the gym. So
Yeah, I think it has to be fun because if you just think about it, the bar on your back is heavy enough. The training session, like the atmosphere doesn't have to be that heavy. Sure, there are days where you're like, I'm putting the headphones on and I'm going to rip this barbell in half. But 90% of the time, it should be a really fun time.
Yeah.
You also be looking forward to getting under that barbell versus like, oh, I got to get under that goddamn barbell again.
Yeah. I mean, like what kept me going is at one point I was like competing with the guys and I'm like, oh, well, what can you back squat? Yeah. Yeah.
Both my Wilk score.
I know. Rez was always like, oh yeah, well dang, you can't squat. And I was like, yeah, well, whose book score is higher, bitch?
Actually, his last the testing, he did really good. He hit like 450, 452.
He's thriving right now.
Yeah. Now a lot of like everyone's doing really well, and it's been really fun, even throughout this, because when we had the original lockdown and everyone came back, everyone's like, I want to get into a barbell. I'm like, or we have to move for about months to 8 weeks or anything else. And like guys, like I just put a barbell on the back with like barely like 135 and like, man, this is heavy. I'm like, you just can't turn it on. Like, this is not how it goes. Your hips have to kind of like start moving again. And we took 6 weeks before we started putting really like a squat pattern together and getting your hips to move again for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were like, holy crap, like we did kettlebells like and like a lot of accessory work for ever. And then all of a sudden you let us squat and like it didn't hurt that much. I'm like, nah, we're going somewhere. You get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely it's always interesting to like go through that process because I've been under a barbell for more than 20 years at this point. So I've done so many stupid things. Like I don't know how many times I've traveled and like been on a plane for like flying across the country and then like, oh, got to squat heavy or got to deadlift because that's the program says, and my hips are like still locked in an airplane seat.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah, that's happened. I know it's like it's literally hitting the reset button all the time. And yeah, like for real, it's like frustrating until you get under the barbell and you're like, oh shit.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, who knew? Yeah. And like he knew. Yeah.
What's one of the biggest things you've learned from actually powerlifting?
Oh, that I'm really fucking strong.
No shit.
No, I think focus, just like mentally being able to get to that place of, okay, it's just me and literally the bar. I got so good at just ignoring everything else around me, especially during comp or even in the gym. When I'm like squatting, benching, or deadlift, literally it's just me and the thing in front of me, and it's just let's just like lift this thing.
Yeah.
Because you know, like during comps and stuff, it's so distracting. You have like your cameras, you have like the whole setup, your judges, like
lights.
You know, the people like yelling at you, and like bright ass lights, and like I get how some people can't get to that place because there's too much going on. But I think like, my biggest learning lesson in powerlifting is just being able to see what's in front of me and like focus on that and not let the distractions like get the best of me. Cause like literally they could, and then I wouldn't be able to perform because I'd probably run off and be like, hey, I can't do it.
Yeah.
But it's just knowing that like this is one thing that I love to do. And it's just me and the bar.
Yeah, I'd say that also.
And whoever's like spotting me, because obviously I can't die today.
Probably not anyway.
Yeah.
I think that lesson, like I'm a big believer in that the gym is it's a force multiplier. Like the skills and lessons you learn in a gym under a barbell, lifting, training hard, carry over to daily life. And I think that's one of the biggest life lessons that people need to learn is like you've got to focus and just move the distractions out of the way and just get your shit done. And I think if people picked up on that lesson, I think that's one of the things that like would just propel people into a whole another level of success.
Yeah, I mean, like with that too, it like propels confidence. Like I've never been like super confident in like anything I do, but like with powerlifting, like outside of powerlifting, like I have this confidence now where I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm sure of the decision I made and this is what I'm gonna go with. So either you hop on or you don't, but like this is what I think is best. And you know, obviously sometimes people aren't going to be like, oh yeah, Paulina, that's like the best decision ever. They're going to like fight you, but then you're just like, hey, whatever, like you do whatever you want to do because I know that I'm confident in what I've chosen. So it's like it's great. I love the gym. Unfortunately can't be at the gym, but yeah, no, I agree, like there's a lot of lessons to be learned in there. Yeah.
What would you recommend? What would you say to a girl that was thinking about joining powerlifting? Just out of curiosity.
Oh my God. I always tell people to do it. I think like I've gotten so many compliments on my legs and I'm like, oh, it's only what I'm good for. If you want legs like these, get into the gym.
400 pounds on your back and just stand up times.
Yeah. Well, even like, what did I say? I think I said to this girl the other day, I was just like, you know what? Like you should just go into a gym and test it out. Powerlifting's great. And like you do 3 movements. It's not really taxing. You do what you can. And like literally it just makes your body feel so much better. Like well, not now because like I've been at home. But like last year in my prime, like, yeah, I've never felt like so great and like confident about going like anywhere, like just wearing the clothes that I have or like going out to different places, meeting new people, going into the gym. Like I love just feeling confident. And I think that's like usually what I tell girls who are like, oh, well, like, how do you start? And I'm like, you shouldn't even like think about, especially with CrossFit, they're like, oh, I would need to be fit in order to do CrossFit, right? And I'm like, no, I mean, the purpose of doing CrossFit is to get fit. I'm like, you don't have to, yeah, and just show up. Exactly. And powerlifting, like, just it'll make you feel strong and it'll bring out this confidence in you that like you can't get rid of afterwards.
Yeah, never.
Yeah, it's not like, don't get me wrong, it's not being cocky. It's just being confident and being more secure in your own body. I mean, yeah, think about it this way, like being in a freaking onesie in front of the world, like squatting, like that's disgusting. But we still do it because we have to, and like no one looks good in it. Like no one looks good in this thing.
Every single person looks like a stuffed sausage.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single person. It doesn't matter.
You're gonna look like a potato. You're gonna look like a sausage. I'm like, just let it be, because there's all these other people in the singlets, and like, you know, we all feel the same way. Yep. Whether you are a guy or a girl, like we all feel like shit because we're like, damn, like I didn't know I had all these curves. So, so yeah, I encourage them to go into the gym for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a different kind of sport, and I think the reason why I like it so much, and I think the reason why I like training women so much in it, is because every single girl has a completely new level of self-respect for themselves that first time they hit that big PR.
Yeah, it's like a glow up. You just feel so much better about yourself. I mean, like, given like at our gym, if we hit a PR, we have to ring that cowbell, and that's like the nightmare of me because I'm like, oh God, everyone's gonna watch me now.
Yep.
But like, no, just like, yeah, doing something that you didn't think that you could do. It's like something comes with it and you feel great.
Yeah. It's always cool to watch because I can see that light switch moment, and it's guys are different. Guys come in thinking they can squat 500 pounds in like 4 weeks, and they've never put a barbell on their back before. And it's always so funny. They're like, oh, it's just 500 pounds. And you're like, yeah, it's just 500 pounds. And then they put like 225 in their back. Like, I'm going to die. It's like,
yeah, put them next to me, Barrett. Just kidding. Yeah.
It's not 500 pounds. You wait till 500 pounds goes on your back. But girls come in, and when they get that light switch, when they hit that big PR, and it just kind of clicks, like all that shit that they were told through like they're not strong, or women can't do pull-ups.
Oh yeah.
Or like women aren't supposed to be this athletic, or blah blah blah. It all starts. You can actually watch it come into question in their head, like, the hell I can't do a pull-up, or the hell I can't squat this, or like,
yeah,
you gotta be kidding me. Like, I'll show you now. And it's a completely different mindset. And girls, like, it's almost so weird because y'all come in with a chip on your shoulder when you get that one PR, and it's like, well, you told me I couldn't do, but I just did that, and I know you can't do that, so I'm definitely know I can do something else.
Yeah, and like the women in our gym, whole other beings. I think everyone's like so kind and so confident and like so supportive, and just like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like when I was in the gym, I was so insecure about myself, like literally couldn't look at anyone in the face. And now I'm just like, okay, well, I can have a conversation now. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, now you're the dang.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I agree. I think there is something that comes with that, and the confidence thing is huge.
yeah, just for life,
Yeah,
just for that alone. All right, cool. I do enjoy those. Like, I always find it really interesting, like how you girls find it, because for me, it's always fun to watch. Like, I got three younger sisters, I got a daughter now, so I just love seeing you guys bust stuff up because I just kind of look at my daughter and go, "You don't think you can do it? Talk to this one. You don't
yeah,
think you can do it? Talk
do
to her."
something.
Yeah,
I know. I think like I'm also the epitome of like an Asian daughter. Like I need to be perfect or something. Like my parents think I need to be this like skinny little thing that can't lift a finger. Even now, like it kind of aggravates me when like Kelvin's mom or my mom will be like, "Oh, well, why are you lifting that? Like the guys can do it for you." I'm like, "No, screw the guys. I can do it." Yeah.
yeah, it's
I
always.
think it's okay to be strong too. I mean, whatever. I think it's beautiful.
Hey man, everyone's got their thing, and I think it is a terrible tragedy to let one of your gifts go to waste, in my opinion. Yeah.
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 So
One of the questions I always ask someone is, "You reading any books right now? And if you are, what are they?"
ooh, um, I'm reading. I've started and have not finished a lot. I have so like my thing is I leave a lot of books around the house, and then when I feel like reading, I'll pick it up and like read whatever. But right now, I'm reading Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. Um, I've been on this book for quite some time, but I think because it's like so relevant during different times in my life, it's called How to Get Shit Done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one. I think that one's like a good like I pick it up every once in a while to just kind of remind myself of what needs to get done. Yeah, I could literally those are the two I can only think about right now. But I know I have a bunch upstairs that I've like started picking at and stuff. So
Yeah, I'm a notorious book whore. I've got three.
yeah,
It's a problem. I have a sick addiction to books.
and it's a good addiction to have.
I know there are worse ones.
Yeah, there are worse ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, I could literally talk about this stuff all night, but I know you have things to do. So let's just kill it there. And we'll probably do this again sometime in the future because it was really fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll close it off and just hang out for a second here.
Okay, so
So
that's
guys,
good.
that was our residential world champ, Paulina Deng, aka the Deng. Thanks for taking the time to give us a little inspiration and education today, Deng. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
definitely on again. Have a good one.
You do.